welcome to Incredibly, everybody. I am Joey, your host, joined by my co-host, as always, Ooch. Which way? This way.
Here.
It has been a wild ride this year. We're going to be doing an MCU look back at the last year. First things first, beginning of this year, Echo came out and was actually like a big surprise to all of us with not necessarily its violence, but how good of a show it was. I know we talked about the show with Mr. Dennis when he was on the show, but now it's just us two thriving. And what do you remember of Echo and how that was? Because it was one was the introduction of Kingpin to the MCU. I guess the second the real introduction of Kingpin to the MCU, I should say, outside of Hawkeye, right? And it's also the first introduction that we got of Daredevil. Again, kind of a little bit more of an introduction. And then really getting to see Echo in her full-fledged status as a hero or anti-villain in the MCU.
I thought that, thinking back now, based on like all the other things that have come out since then, I almost forgot about him, not even gonna lie.
Yeah, it kind of like blended in with everything else in the background. I guess because it was like really the first. It was in January 1, but then it was also just kind of like not necessarily mediocre, but wasn't. It was kind of like in the time that we were waiting for X-Men to come out, right? It was it's kind of like we were waiting with bated breath to see how good X-Men 97 was going to be.
Yeah, the only real thoughts I have on it is that the one thing I do distinctly remember is that we all felt mutual about this, where the trailers felt way more OD than the actual show did. Like the show came off, like the trailers made the show come off in a very certain way that was almost reminiscent to how Daredevil on Netflix was. And so when we saw it, we got like little tastes of it, but it didn't turn out to exactly be that. And that's okay too.
Right.
But it was misleading nonetheless, which is unfortunate.
It as like the super ultra violent, like gonna be knock your pants off with every action sequence in the show, and it just wasn't that.
No, but it's okay because we still got a pretty good story. Echo as a character, they spruced her up a little bit more to, I guess, fit the MCU mold. Because otherwise, it's like she would have just been one of those characters that you'd have like a cult following, kind of like in the pocket of the multitude of characters that exist in the Marvel realm.
Yeah, there's so many.
Yeah, and like I do remember them implementing all of that heritage into it, and that was really cool. And at the same time, it was like they also were doing that with Kahori in What If.
Yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, because What If kind of had just wrapped up before Echo started.
Yeah, so it was like a nice little transitional phase, if you will, if you want to like connect the two. Which, funny enough, side note, Kaori actually just came out with her first #1 comic.
Really?
Like at the time of this recording.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
I'm assuming that's the first like movie to comic book hero that we've gotten.
They made that
maybe
connection in the
time.
synopsis.
Wow.
Yeah. So
very cool.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, dope to get that Native American representation.
Yeah.
In both
100%.
Echo and What If. Yeah, it was a good show overall. I was very pleased with it. I think we were all kind of expecting a little bit more out of it. But that's okay. It was the first of the Marvel Spotlight series, which I'm assuming we're going to see more. I feel like Daredevil was supposed to be a part of that, but I'm sure they're probably just going to slot it into Marvel Television now, kind of like how Agatha is. But to be seen, especially if they're going to try to make Daredevil as violent as it was on Netflix. Who knows? Only time will tell.
I think the Spotlight thing may end up just being one of those kind of nice ways of literally spotlighting a character that wouldn't otherwise get any sort of limelight.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, like Daredevil is not a spotlight. It's Daredevil.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that people want and they're asking for. No disrespect, but no one asked for Echo.
Yes, it's true.
You know what I'm saying? but we did get a good show out of it.
Yeah.
But like I can see. Well, that's the thing. Like if they were to do what they did with Echo, but for another character, that would be a spotlight. But I feel like for the shows coming up in 2025, I don't even know if any of them would
Mm.
be considered spotlight worthy,
Yeah,
just
not yet.
based on the context of the story that they're gonna be giving us. So
That's a good content idea. Is what Marvel character do you want to see get spotlighted next? Come with the top 5.
oh yeah, no, that's a good
Let
question.
us know your top 5 Marvel spotlights. Right?
Drop
Yeah,
them and
let
then
us
we'll do
know.
a video,
Yeah,
I guess.
exactly. Next in the year came Madam Web, which is hard to believe that Madam Web actually fucking came out this year. 'Cause what a time that was. Not, I will say, at the time we were fairly hopeful. From what I remember, we were like, you know what? Maybe it's not going to suck. Maybe it's going to be good. Maybe Dakota Johnson will give us like the performance of a lifetime. Cindy Sweeney was in it. That was something, I guess. Um, yeah, Madam Web, what a ride that was. In more into the Sony verse, unfortunately, fortunately enough. Um, do you remember what your theater experience was like going to Madam Web?
I do. Um, like you started to prime up. We were and we had decent to good vibes and faith going
Yes.
into the
We
film.
believed something good could actually come out of of Sony for
Yeah.
once.
I mean, just because it's like the premise, or not even the premise, the principle that we're getting a movie based on a character that almost has a mystique to her because she's never had her own comic
Right.
as far as a solo run. She's
Mhm.
only ever been like this high deity kind of figure in Spider-Man
Yeah, very
comics.
tied to Spider-Man.
So just off of that, we made the unfortunate assumptions that we were gonna get something special and something really, really good. And it
Yeah.
could have opened up like a lot of different windows and it could have connected things that we've already seen. Like
Mhm.
this could have been their opportunity to literally connect Spider-Verse and
Yeah.
whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because it's Madam Web,
Yes.
like Web of Destiny and all this stuff. But none of that shit happened at all. And I will be the first to admit, like I had admitted, that's not a word, but how I admit back then when I said at first coming out of the theater, I was pleased with what I
Yes, I
saw.
do remember that.
I was initially okay and I gave it like, what did I even give it? I don't remember. It was like a high
I
score.
think you
We'll
gave it
just
like a
say that.
7 or 8.
Yeah, I probably gave it like an 8, 8.5,
Mhm.
right? And that was solely on how it kinda ended. And to me, because like, see, Madam Web was the movie that was like the camel, or not the camel. It was the straw that broke my
Yeah.
back.
It was the camel that
Okay.
broke your back.
Yeah. No, seriously.
Yeah.
Because I'm known to be someone that like rates things high,
You're very
or
optimistic.
I'm very
Yes.
optimistic, right? Because like I do try to see the good in things, and I think it also has something to do with the fact that I want to see the genre flourish,
Mm.
and I'm not
Mhm, mhm.
trying to be in the camp of fans that, or not, or non-fans
Yeah.
that are just constantly negatively bashing
Yeah. Not trying to be a doomer.
anything. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like I don't want to add more of that to what already exists.
Right.
I just want to help in whatever way that I can as a fan, as a content creator, to bring it up. And so it helps other people see it, and then, we continue to get more.
Yeah.
Because obviously if we get more flops like that, then it's not going to really
Right.
do us any favors. It's not going to do the superhero genre any favors either. So at first glance, I was like okay with it. I was accepting of it. And literally because of her getting gray hairs and getting the red fit, and like being blind or
Yeah,
whatever
with in the
and being
Professor
in a
X
wheelchair.
chair.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh, it's comic accurate, I guess.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Literally, I had a conversation per usual with my fiance, and I said what I said, and then she was like, babe, that movie was trash.
Yeah.
And then I like I took the rest of that weekend to just sit on it and really think. And I had a couple conversations with some other friends of mine, and they were like, Ooch, you are on drugs if you are serious in thinking this movie was good. So I'm like, okay. So then I reanalyzed it mentally. I'm playing through everything back in my mind. I'm
Mhm,
watching
mhm,
video
mhm.
reviews. And then I realize I come to terms with accepting that this movie did way more harm than any of the other Sony
Yeah.
movies that have come out. And that
Yeah.
sucks. So
Because I
at
know.
least I admitted it.
Yeah. And thank you for that. It's very big of you to,
I'm
to do.
I'm a real one. You already
Yes,
know.
it's true.
I you know.
It's true. Yeah. Um, yeah. I personally still haven't even seen Morbius just because of the reception about it and how everybody just kind of negged on it and it was a doomer and really memed it to hell. Really, they memed it so hard it came back into theaters. Um,
I would say that's better than Madam Web, though. I will
yeah,
give it that much.
and I definitely have heard that that at least people had fun watching it. Where Madam Web was almost kind of like on a second watch, kind of unwatchable. You're just kind of bored. Like there's moments in the movie where it's funny, but it's funny because you're like, wow, this movie sucks. Kind of like how Punisher is to us, where we're just like, you got to watch this because it's so bad. But it's like, you don't need to watch it because it's so bad. It's kind of how it ended up being.
Punisher is godlike in comparison to
Yes,
Madam Web.
Punisher is godlike in comparison.
It's so good.
That's what we need to do is we need to reflect on the Marvel movies that we love to watch. Punisher being at the top of the list.
Palate cleanser.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
exactly. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I we really had high hopes for Madam Web, and for Sony as a whole, just to finally be excited to go see a Sony movie would be awesome. I know that I was very excited for like Let There Be Carnage and for when the first round of movie came out, and then even for this third one, I was very excited too. We'll get to that in a little bit, but it's kind of sad. Like going to Craven, I feel like I'm just going to see it just for the sake of saying that I saw the movie, more so than to say that I'm excited to see the movie. Right? Like we'll see. Rhino's in it. That's cool, I guess. So we'll see. But enough about Craven. Now to talk about probably the best thing that we saw this year, which is X-Men '97.
Oh,
Easily the highlight of the decade. Getting to relive '90s morning cartoons with the X-Men was just a fantastic experience. I grew up in a household with older brothers. They didn't watch it, but my cousin loved X-Men. And so anytime that I got to see him, he had all the toys. It's all in his attic still. He told me he was going to send them to me. Skylar, I still haven't received them. I'm still waiting. But this was the first thing I think we like kind of did on our own, which is really cool. And it really means a lot to you that this series came back. I know because you are a massive X-Men fan. I see some X-Men. You got X-Men sitting on the desk right behind you. Yeah, your honeys. Yep, there you go. Oh, Storm. I can't see who the other one is.
it's Wolverine.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so like
There was a Rogue one,
Yes.
but it's discontinued and no one's selling
Yeah, of course.
theirs because why would you
yeah,
sell
why
a
would-
Rogue? So
like,
yeah,
not gonna happen.
can't. I'll never get it now,
yeah.
unfortunately.
So X-Men '97 season 1, arguably the best thing that came out this year. Superhero wise, just I would say across the whole genre. Even I think Invincible season 2, season 3, whatever the newest part of it came out. Some
Oh,
new
yeah, I
boys stuff
forgot
came
about
out too, I believe, and like nothing compared to this. How did you feel about it? I mean, we know how you felt about it, but how you feeling about it now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we've had some time since then
Yes.
I mean, that's why we're doing this video. It's like a self-reflection on the year. And like you mentioned, arguably the best thing in the superhero genre that came out, and that is, I will argue that with you because, like, obviously we got Deadpool Wolverine, which I'm sure we'll get to, but X-Men '97 Man, let me tell you that just hit way different. Like it's the energy that X-Men 97 brought and the way that I feel like the whole world was treating it
Yes.
on a weekly
Yes.
basis. It was just so much fun. That feeling is something that I don't think anyone has felt in such a long time.
Right.
Like that feeling of watching like a Saturday morning cartoon
Hmm.
and then later on like when the school week starts you going in and it's
Everybody's talking
something you
about it.
talk about with all your
Yeah.
friends,
I feel like the last
you
time I
know.
felt like that was when we were watching Super, Dragon Ball Super. It was kind of like everybody in the world was watching Dragon Ball Super, right? It had
Exactly.
that same kind of energy around it, whereas like every week you hop on Wednesday and it's all anybody's talking about is like, did you see what Gambit did? Did you see the cool thing? Blah blah. It was like the same thing when Goku went Ultra Instinct. It was like the internet, the world was ablaze. It had that. It was nice to everybody loved it. Everybody was coming around it, and it was like we were the comic book community was
Yep.
thriving.
I literally, and I've never done this for any other franchise or series. Would wake up at like 6 in the morning because I had and still have this 10-hour plus
Hmm.
job, and I needed to see this and react to it on a week to week basis. And I was like, okay, it's only for a limited time. I'm not doing this every day. So, in a way, even though I was very sad it was over in 10 episodes, I was also happy I got to sleep again. But
For now.
yeah, the things that I sacrificed to make this show happen so I can do my reaction videos and content for it and just be a part of that excitement, it was
Yeah,
unmatched.
nothing
And
like it.
it, it had so many cool moments and
Yes.
just things that had people really raving over it, man. To this day, like people I just recently saw that there's the murmurs of a Spider-Man animated series
Oh,
has resurfaced.
Spider-Man 89.
Or you mean 98?
98, yeah, sorry. Either way.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see if it
Right.
happens or if they title it like that or whatever the
Yeah.
case is. But I mean, even in X-Men 97, there was a Spider-Man payoff
Mhm, mhm,
that he
mhm.
found MJ. And I'm just like, what? Like a lot of fans, I'm telling you, loved this.
Yeah,
Which is
they were
weird.
cooking.
There's no Blu-ray set yet. I
Oh,
don't know.
anyway,
Yeah, what's up
I
with
feel
that?
like with Marvel, it takes a while to get stuff out. I feel
Yeah,
like I
why?
feel like specifically with TV shows too, it takes a while. Like I remember the Wanda Blu-ray had just come out earlier this year. So
Yeah, like what's
so I
up?
wonder if that's
Like,
like a production thing or if it's like they're waiting to until the views drop off enough on streaming that they're like, okay, then we'll push it out. Because I would fuck
weird.
heavy with a VHS set of X-Men 97. Like you could, I would buy that for so much money.
Honestly,
I probably just make it.
if they were to go out of their way to really mass produce VHS tapes of X-Men 97, but they were like high def
Oh yeah,
VHS, imagine that
yeah,
shit.
I'm there.
Imagine if Disney made a product so that they could sell that. I'm
Oh, they
sure
would.
everyone would buy
Oh,
it.
absolutely. It's like
I'd
the
buy it.
Nintendo alarm clock, the Alarmo or whatever. It's the same
Mhm.
thing. And then they just created their own new music app so you could choose the music you want on Alarmo. It's gonna happen. So Disney, I'd buy a Disney VHS player. I'll buy
I would
I'll
too.
buy a Mickey Mouse VHS TV if it means that I can watch my X-Men 97 on the TV.
Dude, I'm telling you that'll do a lot of things for us 90s kids
Yeah.
and anyone from that
I
era,
know the map.
like the ability to take a tape and put it in, hit the
Yes.
play button.
And then you have to rewind the tape, wait for the. I know the
Yep.
mouse is listening, Mr. Mouse. Please, I'd buy a TV. I'd buy a TV for this.
Do it.
Right. All right. With X-Men 97 out of the way, in our hearts forever. The next thing we had to wait for was Deadpool Wolverine. I think X-Men 97 went from March, I think, until end of May. And then we were kind of
Hmm.
like in this lull, which is the biggest lull that we had in I think all year. Deadpool Wolverine in July was the blockbuster hit of the summer that we thought it was going to be. Didn't make 2 billion. That's okay. The
Yeah.
box offices didn't burn down. That's okay. However, they did theoretically because it was bananas going to see this fucking movie, dude. I saw,
It was a success no matter what.
yes, so this was the first time I ever went to a movie by myself, which it's okay. Definitely not for a premiere like this. You want to go with friends. However, everybody around me was really hype, which was a lot of fun. So it's like I don't remember who said it, but they said that Marvel movies are like roller coaster movies, and I kind of get it. Where it's like, or they're like theme park rides, where it's like you go and you have fun. And it's like a whole thing. But when you're like really in the crowd like that, it really is like you're at, like on a roller coaster because you're all feeling the emotion together. You're all going on this journey together, and getting to see Ryan Reynolds Deadpool, Hugh Jackman Wolverine in a Disney movie, in a Disney Marvel movie was just like a euphoric experience that we never thought we'd have, right? It was very much so in line with getting to see all three Peters together. It was like
Oh,
we for years were like never gonna fucking happen. Hugh Jackman never coming back. Deadpool 3, not gonna
nah,
happen.
nah. Speak for
And
yourself. I
now
always had faith.
I had faith, but it was almost like okay, like it's like that one little glimmer of hope in the back, way, 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 way back, right? Like that far off distant star. And then it came true. And did they fucking knock it out of the park? Like, what a fucking movie, dude.
Dude, it was a movie that everyone for such a long time. I mean, we were already waiting for Deadpool 3, but
Yeah.
to then get surprised that Deadpool 3 would then later be renamed to Deadpool and
Right.
Wolverine. I'm like, this is literally what we've been waiting for. And we even made the prediction saying like this is gonna be the Fox Endgame. And to a degree,
It pretty
it
much was.
was.
It really was. Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
was. And like you said, roller coaster, a lot of fun. I can tell you right now, I was probably the loudest in my theater.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not trying to say like I was yelling, but you could definitely audibly hear me going, like during all the moments. Like, dude, when Elektra pulled up, when Gambit pulled up, when Blade, I was just like I lost so much air just like in my seat. It was so much fun. And like and then the line that we already made a clip off
Yes.
out of that Blade said, there'll only ever be one Blade.
Curse the fucking franchise forever.
Seriously. But yeah, no. Such a great movie. It's the 4K edition is already on my Christmas wish list.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was out, and then I saw it on the shelves in wherever the hell I was the other day.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
tell me how they have our 4K version, and then they have two separate international versions with two different covers. So collectors can
That's
be
the
like,
worst.
"Oh, let me spend $160. I have both fucking covers. Where one's Deadpool mainly and the other one's Wolverine mainly." So
Ridiculous.
I'm not doing
Yeah, they're trying
that.
to
I,
milk
I at
you.
least want one of them
Right.
though. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
lie.
yeah. Yeah, you gotta get the nice 4K Ultra HD Steelbook edition where it
That's what it
has
is. I'm pretty
yeah,
sure it's like a
of
steelbook
course.
or something.
Too good. Too good. Agatha just wrapped up Venom. We just saw both. I would say, well, there's little spoilers. Venom did not exceed my expectations, unfortunately. I'm a little bummed about Venom, but Agatha absolutely exceeded my expectations. Um, I wasn't sure what I was expecting from the show. I was just kind of going in. I know that like Secret Invasion kind of got our hopes up and then really let us down. Like really let us down. And so I wasn't too sure how it was going to go, but man, I think they really nailed it with this one. Wiccan was great in this. Agatha was great in Agatha, obviously. The rest of the cast was absolutely incredible. Kitty from That 70s Show in the show, didn't expect that. Mrs. Hart was wonderful. I would say getting to see Wiccan, who is probably one of the more newer characters in Marvel as a whole, really be in the show was really really cool. And just get more magic was neat, and to get more lore into all of Wanda, to get more Wanda lore was really really sick, you know. So what are your initial thoughts and final thoughts on Agatha?
So, like you were saying, it was a show I went into completely like blind,
Yeah,
empty, like no expectations. I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. I was honestly, I feel like I was one of the fans. I personally didn't really see a lot of people that may have related to what I'm about to say, but I was almost confused and wondering like why is she getting a show?
right.
Cuz like I definitely appreciated the character in WandaVision, but I didn't think
Yeah,
based on the non-existent knowledge I have on her in the comics, I was like, what is she going like what is she going to do that would constitute her own whole ass 9 episode show?
right.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
I agree. Because like I think you and I are kind of on the same page with her character. Is kind of like she was in the show and like it was kind of fun, but like I would have never in a million years expected a whole ass spinoff for her.
Yeah. Yeah, like she ended up being like the secret big bad in WandaVision. And we got some more lore dumping
Hmm.
through her perspective, and like it fed into Wanda's story, which of course was great. But again, like I was just like when we heard that Agatha was getting a show, and then obviously like it had like so many different like title changes.
Yes,
It was gonna be like have Darkhold and all this other
Darkhold
stuff.
Diaries. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm just glad that it was something that it literally exceeded the non-expectations that I had. I'm not even gonna lie. Maybe I guess the one expectation that I did have going in was that it wasn't gonna be something that was gonna really draw my attention
Hmm.
or like keep me invested the
Hmm.
whole way through. But of course, as most great Disney Plus shows do, it kept drawing me back and making me look forward to the following week's episode,
Hmm.
not out of obligation, but because I was genuinely interested, which is
Yeah,
what you really
you
that's how you
need.
have a really good show on your hands.
Yeah, exactly. And it helps that they had a catchy ass song too with "Down, Down, Down the Road." That song has been stuck in my head, brother. Especially after
Down
they,
the witch's
especially
road.
after they had the whole jam sesh. It
That was
was
kind of fire,
it
not
was
gonna
really
lie.
fire with the demon that popped up, the cursed demon. That shit was great. I
Yeah.
think like one of my favorite things about the show is their use of practical effects for basically like all of it that they could outside of obviously like any of the magic blasts and stuff. Like the demon was just literally a chick in paint in a suit. Um, Even at the end, spoilers. This is spoilers. Agatha was a ghost, and I thought it was really cool that it was actually like her that they just kind of like superimposed in the shots and whatnot. And then all the sets were practical. They really didn't use a lot of CG. And then when at the end when Jen flies off, they Jen might have been Marvel, one of them, the actress that plays Jen in the show, showed the rigging that they had set up outside of the Westview sign. It was like these two massive poles, and she was like on these suspension ropes, and it literally showed her just like flying off into the distance. So like that wasn't even CG; it was like actually done. So I thought that it was really good, and I thought they actually like stick the landing,
Yeah.
like, and I was very surprised because I know some of the Marvel shows have a hard time sticking the landing. Shows in general a lot of times have a hard time sticking the landing. But with Wiccan finally being introduced, Billy finally being introduced, it feels as though this is a really good origin for him. And it almost feels like it's not necessary. Well, to be seen, this to be seen, obviously, it doesn't necessarily feel like it's has to be seen or necessary viewing. Like it feels like maybe when he's introduced to the MCU proper, it's just like this is Wiccan. He's Wanda Maximoff's kid. Here you go. He's a fucking magician. That's like obviously her son's gonna be a magician. Is gonna be like really powerful. So it kind of feels good to have this show where it's like, oh, you can watch it if you want some context, but otherwise, all you really need to know is that he's a incredibly powerful magician, right? Any final thoughts on the show?
I really like how it ended, and honestly, I like how this was basically a way to kind of connect back to WandaVision and I guess like subsequently Multiverse of Madness because she
Yes.
was a part of that as well.
Hmm.
They made callbacks to all those moments that happened, not just in the Westview incident, but what happened with Wanda, like when they were asking like, is Wanda Maximoff dead? And she was like, yes, no, maybe.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
like they're keeping it like they like revisited that,
Yeah.
which I'm sure a lot of fans were just like wondering like, oh, is like she actually dead? And I was like, man, there's no way.
There's
Like,
no
there's no
way.
way.
No way.
No way.
I believe
So
the at the beginning of WandaVision, the body that she finds down in that river was definitely Wanda. I don't know how they're going to explain that in the future, or if it was just a witch that she stole her powers from. But Wanda's back. She'll be back, especially now that
it will
her
be.
kid's alive. Both of her kids are alive, supposedly.
I guess the one question I will have is when exactly we're gonna get Vision Quest,
Mm,
because that's the next slated speculated show that's gonna follow up on the events that took place in Agatha, because now the story has shifted over to finding Tommy,
yes.
so that way we can have both of the Maximoff brothers um in play for Young Avengers and whatever they're
Hmm.
planning to do with those characters, which I will also add that prior to this, I'm not like very like an avid Young Avengers, like I could care less. Like,
Right.
I'm just like, why are we doing this? Like, especially like with, because like first of all, I love Ms. Marvel. Like, I love Ms. Marvel as a character. Standalone, give me another season, I'll enjoy it. But like, why are you gonna try to bring in Kate Bishop and now Ant-Man's daughter? Like,
Right.
that's not enough for me to be
Yeah.
like, man, what are we doing? Like, but if you're bringing in Wanda's kids,
And
now we got
and
something cooking.
what's Hulk's kid's name?
Oh, Hulkling.
Hulkling. Yeah, he'll probably also be
Yeah.
in it too. So the team is filling out.
Yeah, I don't think it would ever be like movie worthy, but
Yeah.
for sure Disney Plus,
Yeah.
he could spotlight them.
Fucking true. Give us like a OG Teen Titans cartoon esque show with all of them, and I would be on board. Where it's kind of like them fighting low level villains in just kind of like a fun, wacky way. I think would be more fun than trying to take it as serious as you did like the Avengers leading up to Endgame. Like I don't think,
Yeah.
at least for now, I don't feel like they are going to be the stars. But who knows? We'll see what ends up leading up into Secret Wars, and if the universe gets reset, then who fucking knows what's going to happen?
And that's why I asked like with the whole Vision Quest
Yeah.
thing, because like while they're trying to find Tommy, they're definitely gonna have to see where the hell Wanda's at,
Yes.
because she's going to play a big role in the overall Doomsday Secret
Hmm.
Wars. Like those are Avengers titled
Yes.
films. You have to have the
Yeah.
Scarlet
You
Witch in
can't have her.
those.
You can't have her not in there, especially since there's only one
Exactly.
Scarlet Witch across all universes, right? It makes sense for her to eventually make an appearance. It would be cool if Vision Quest kind of answers that, or if there's Vision and Billy or some, form, some form of the team up would be really nice. So
Mm.
who knows? It'll be good. I think the next series we're getting is Ironheart, I believe. I think we kind of got a teaser for Ironheart last week or so. There was like a teaser trailer for the trailer. That looked pretty
Yeah,
interesting.
and that one in her show is supposed to have Mephisto in it, according to rumors.
Yeah, I saw that, and that's very interesting because Mephisto is, the devil, basically, right? So it's like,
I'm like, how is that gonna tie into
yeah,
that?
that doesn't make any
Like,
fucking sense.
but whatever.
I'm surprised we didn't see any kind of. I was waiting for the end of Agatha to have some kind of end credit scene, maybe with Mephisto. Didn't get anything.
Yeah, we
you
didn't
know?
get we didn't get any end credits.
So, but I mean, it
Crazy.
was a very solid ending that was leading into the next thing for them. So it's okay. I'm fine with it for now.
Yeah.
How would you rate this series as a whole? I think for shows we'll do like out of 5.
Okay, out of 5,
Yeah.
I would give it a solid 4.
Yeah, I'm there with you. It did everything that it needed to do for me. It made me really care about the characters. All the set was good. Wasn't a lot of cheesy dialogue. It kind of paid homage to all the witches of old in some capacity. All the fun witchy stuff. Yeah, I cannot complain about the show, I would say. Yeah. So, thank you, Kevin. You did it. You really did it big with this one.